Okay, the next thing we're going to be working on is the human nose. And so one of the things we want to think about the skull structure is the human nose makes a pyramid. So not a triangle, but a pyramid. So it's got to angle down this direction and this direction. And then when we think about like the side view of the face, it's got a pyramid in that direction as well. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start out with just the central like main part of the nose. So I'm going to start out with a coil that I want to taper. I have lots of clay dust on my hands. Okay, so I'm going to get this first coil made and I want to make it pyramid shaped. Okay, so I'm going to start out thinking like I have to have a triangle in this direction. Okay, one of the big mistakes that people make is they roll a coil and they just stick it on. Okay, but you have to have that pyramid shape first. Okay, so we're going to get a nice pyramid shape in this direction. Okay, all right, so we're going to start out by putting that on our prepared slab. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start attaching this, and I want to keep a tapered angle. Okay, this end of the nose tends to be round, and then this one's going to slope down and connect. And so you can see it's angling downward towards the slab. Okay, because eventually this part of the nose is going to blend in to the rest of the shapes around it. Okay, so I'm trying to keep kind of a flat plane right here, and I'm going to blend that in. I'm going to blend down the sides. Okay, so we have a basic shape for this central part of the nose. Okay, and it's almost like there's a flat section here and then two sections that angle down that way. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to add the nostrils. Okay, and so we're going to add the nostrils as two separate balls, and we want them to not be big. If you want to look like a baby nose, then you would make nostrils that were proportionally larger. Okay, so I'm going to look at them and say, does that look too big? And also, are the nostrils the same size as each other? Okay, so I think this looks too big, so I'm going to pinch a little off this side. Okay, re-roll that. I'm going to put it on there and look at it. Now, adult noses have a lower septum, like the little piece of tissue in between the nostrils, and children, so if I was doing a kid's nose, I would put the balls down here. If I'm doing an adult nose, I'm going to put them higher up there. Okay, and so definitely get those balls the same size as each other. This one's still bigger, so we're going to pinch a little more off. Okay, roll that again. And back on. Okay, now that's our nose form. Now we just need to blend it together. Okay, so I'm going to get in here with the tool, and I'm going to make sure I'm thinking about the fact that I need it to come up this way towards the point of the nose and then to slope down in all the other directions. Okay, so I'm just going to take my tool and I'm going to start blending my connections, and I kind of use a bit of a rolling motion because we're going to get this all connected down to the face. Okay, one of the things to think about is the shape of nostrils. People tend to want to make a round hole indentation for the nostrils, but that is not their shape at all. Okay, and one of the things that you can do is you can feel your own nose while you're working on this. And this is going to help you get some of the shapes more accurate. Okay, so I'm going to now start blending these connections. So I'm going to come up a little bit. Sometimes you have to add a little extra pillow onto the tip of the nose. So I'm just going to make a little round pillow because I want the tip of my nose a little bit further out so that my nose is not too flat. Okay, and then I'm going to start blending things together. Okay, and I may need a little more pinches, a pinch on each side of clay to mix these in. Not too much though. See, that's still too much. Okay. So just a teeny bit. I just want to build up a little bit more structure right here. Okay. Because I'm going to make sure I have a nice sloping nose. Okay. So we are going to blend down this way. Blend, blend, blend. Okay, make sure we have our connections. And there's so many different shapes of noses. And like, oh, does the person have a bump in their nose right there? Do they not? It's completely up to you to decide how you're gonna handle those features. Okay, let's get this all blended. Most people have a little kind of round ball on the end of their nose. How big it is varies, but it's not ginormous, so don't get crazy. So I'm just kind of blending in my lines a little bit more. Okay. Now, once we have our shapes kind of in here, then all we need to do is blend in our connections a little more. So I'm gonna come down the side of the nose this way, I'm gonna come down and around, do some blending. Okay. All right. Now we need nostrils so our person can breathe. Okay, so what we're gonna do to create those nostrils, I smooshed the side of my tissue on this nostril over here on accident. Might pinch a little more clay right there just to fill it. There we go. Okay, so the first thing that we're gonna do is get everything nice and combined. Okay, and we can see definitely has an angle, right? We don't want a big lump of clay that comes over and just curves down. Okay, we want an angle. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna decide what shape we want our nostrils to be. And generally nostrils either go side to side this way, or they go front to back this way. But no matter what you're doing with your nostrils, they're never going to be a round, perfectly circular shape. So we want to avoid that. Okay, so I'm going to get this a little more blended before I make my holes for my nostrils so I don't have as much stuff to fix later. Okay, so the septum is this little piece of tissue right here in between the nostrils. We want to make sure that that's lower than the sides of the nostrils because that's how it occurs in most human adults. Okay, so I'm going to come in here with a tool, and I think I'm going to do my nostrils side to side like this. So I'm going to indent my fingers a little bit right there and just kind of start that, and you can see that already gives a good nostril kind of impression, right? So I just went right here and I just kind of swiped them down. Okay, and as I'm doing that, I'm also rolling my fingers out. So down, out, down, out. Okay, getting those shapes nice and ready to go. Okay, now I'm just gonna get in here with my tool. Okay, and I'm just gonna come in and I'm going to make an impression for the nostrils that is gonna go side to side. Okay, and a lot of sculptors kind of make the nostrils pretty deep. They don't actually need to be very deep. It's just the implication of an opening. Okay, now once you have the nostrils kind of formed, then you can do some blending around them. So these are side to side ones. I could have just as easily done ones that go kind of front to back here. So I'm just gonna blend in those shapes, and you can see they're not a perfect circle. So now I'm gonna come down here, blend these down a little bit like usually pinch the septum a little bit to make it more pronounced right there. And then the last thing I'll do is I'll go around with a wood knife or a sculpting tool, and I'll just give a little bit more of an indentation around the side of the nose. All right, so I can just take my tool right here and I just create more of a more linear separation between the nose and the tissue around it. And you can even come in here and curve it up this way. And so that's a small thing, but it makes a pretty significant difference in the shape of the nostril. So you can see that side versus that side. Like you definitely need that fold next to the nose for it to look right. And you don't press very hard. And then I always go back and blend it with my finger afterwards. My hands are dirty, so I'm just making more marks. Take my tool, blend out a little bit, get that all nice and tidy. And then I would just do that on both sides of the nose so that it has the indentation. And that's how we make a nose. And then from here you can make changes to the shape, several changes to get it more accurate. And there's a nose. You can see it slopes downward this way, and it's a pyramid, right? So I'm gonna go finish this side later. Okay, there we go, there's a nose.